Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Loners Podcast. This is episode 113. Yeah?
All right.
I was trying to beat you to the alright.
I know. Yep, episode number 113. Run it. What's up, everyone?
Did I do a good job?
She did great on that intro. Just want to say thank you all for checking in again. And if you haven't, go and subscribe and like and check out our videos on our vlog channel, please. The link is always in the description, and I'm putting it right as the first thing so that way you guys can see it. Cool.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. We are trying to get to 1,000 subs on that channel.
Do it.
That's our goal by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So help us.
Help us smash that.
Help you help us. Help you help us.
Help us smash it.
Everybody smash it.
All right. So today we're gonna do a video called how socialists solved the housing crisis.
Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, just because that the end of the word. All right. Let's see.
By the Gravel Institute.
Gravel Institute.
Oh.
This is like one of the same people that did Why America Sucks at Everything. One of the first videos we did.
Oh. With
David Cross. But yeah. So let's see. I'm guessing it's going to give some specific countries and stuff that did this, but let's see.
American housing is in crisis. Right now, up to 12 million Americans are behind an average of $5,800 on rent and risk eviction.
Damn.
With eviction moratoriums soon to expire, we're facing an unprecedented wave of evictions and foreclosures.
When was this filmed or posted?
Let me see.
2 years ago. That's why some of the stuff he's saying is little.
That will crash straight into millions of struggling families across the country. But the truth is, this crisis didn't begin with the pandemic. In fact, housing has been in crisis for a very long time.
Yeah.
Even before the pandemic, in places like New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco, median rents for even one-bedroom apartments could approach $2,500 a month or more. About a third of people in Los Angeles spend a majority of their income on housing. In New York City, about 20% of all renters pay most of their income to their landlord. And in my district, Astoria, about a quarter of residents have to spend most of their paycheck on rent. And the crisis isn't just in big cities. In 95% of all U.S. counties, workers making the minimum don't make enough to afford a one-bedroom rental on their own. The Harvard Center for Housing Studies warns of a new normal for housing in the United States, in which nearly half of all renter households spend almost a third of their income on rent. That's why even before the fallout from the coronavirus started to hit, more than 500,000 Americans nationwide were already homeless, millions more on the brink of losing their housing, and countless families struggling every month to make ends meet. At the root of all of this suffering is the fact that in this country, housing is treated as a commodity, not a right.
Yeah.
It's a consumer product, just like clothes or cars.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, but it's so true. I think people like to just target this issue after COVID, but it was already here before COVID too, a lot.
Yeah, it definitely got way worse after COVID.
But it was already a big issue before that too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think it's inexcusable, period. Anywhere.
It shouldn't be viewed as such a...
Housing should not be a luxury.
It also shouldn't be such a huge profit machine. It shouldn't be thought of as a moneymaker. It should be thought of let's get people something they need as humans.
If you have a job in this country, you should be able to afford housing, period. And it shouldn't be eating up the majority of your income.
Yeah, if a minimum wage person, it shouldn't be 80% of the money they make is paid to rent. You know what I mean? And then you have that little bit left over. But then you still have bills and you have food and you have other stuff.
And then they love to gaslight everyone into thinking that they just don't work hard enough. So.
Or just get a higher paying job. Or
just get a better job.
Yeah.
Like clothes or cars that private businesses can sell on the market to make a profit. And if someone isn't able to pay, either because their landlord raised their rent or because they can't work for one reason or another, they're not able to stay in their homes. If they're lucky, they can live with friends or family, or maybe in transitional housing for a bit. But for a lot of people, they have nowhere else to go, and they end up sleeping on the streets. In December 2019, the number of people sleeping in homeless shelters in New York reached 19,000 people,
Damn.
an all-time high. 100,000 New York City students are homeless.
That's
more than
crazy.
10% of the entire student population.
What?
Why do so many people end up homeless? It's not because there aren't enough homes to go around. There are plenty of empty homes. No, it's because housing people is not the primary goal of developers or landlords. Their goal, simply put, is to make a profit. And it's much more profitable to build luxury apartments for the rich than decent homes for the poor. This gives us a big shortage of homes for ordinary working people. For every 100 households that are extremely low income, there are only 36 affordable and available homes. As a result, we have plenty of housing for the rich. But poor and working class people don't have nearly enough on the market. So we have people scrounging to make ends meet or sleeping on the streets right below luxury condos and uninhabited apartments. This is a terrible way to organize a housing market. It might be profitable for landlords and developers, but it's not efficient or beneficial for the rest of society. In fact, housing doesn't have to be seen as a market at all. In other countries, housing is considered a fundamental right, like education or healthcare. That means the government goes to significant lengths to guarantee everyone has a home, and the market plays a much smaller role in the construction and distribution of housing. So let's hop across the pond and about 100 years back in time to take a look at just one example of how an alternative housing model got started in beautiful Red Vienna.
Oh, there we go.
At the end of the First World War, the Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed.
Sorry, before it continues. Well, I was watching an interview with this YouTuber, Hassan, and he was mentioning this, that Red Vienna, that like 60% of it is like public housing,
Yeah, I remember
which is interesting because I forgot to look up into this, but yeah. Hey guys, we just wanted to take a minute out of our video to thank our sponsor, Lingoda.
For those of you who have forgotten, Lingoda is an awesome online school for learning new languages. It's perfect for if you're going on vacation anytime soon and want to connect more with the locals.
When we recently went to Spain, I was able to utilize some of the Spanish I learned while practicing with Lingoda.
Lingoda offers classes 24/7 to fit any type of schedule you may have. From beginner to advanced, you will always have the best learning experience.
There are several monthly plans to help students decide what works best for them, so no matter your schedule, they'll be able to make it work.
So choose between one-on-one classes for individual learners like me or group classes for social learners who thrive amongst peers. Either way, Lingoda offers a free 7-day trial while you decide what plan's right for you.
The Lingoda curriculum is structured according to the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR for short. They even offer a placement test to ensure that you're starting from the right level.
So take advantage of this awesome opportunity and click the link in our description below for 25% off your first 2 months of using Lingoda.
Make sure to use our code when checking out on the Lingoda website. We can't wait to hear about your language learning journey.
And good luck, guys, and thank you so much, Lingoda.
Thank you.
Leaving behind a number of successor states, including modern-day Austria, home to the former imperial capital of Vienna, the 5th largest city in the world. Despite being the seat of an empire, the chaos of the war and decades of neglect had left the working class of Vienna in desperate circumstances. Inflation was rampant, jobs were scarce, social services were non-existent, and hundreds of thousands of people were crammed into decaying tenements where overcrowding, disease, and violence were rampant. So it's no surprise that in 1919, at the first elections ever held in Austria where all adult citizens could vote, the Social Democratic Party swept into power at the municipal level on the promise of dramatic social and economic reform. And they delivered. The new government of Vienna implemented a huge range of services, including public health care and public child care. They built high-quality hospitals, schools, and recreational facilities. But their crowning achievement was an ambitious program of social housing, what Americans call public housing, that began in 1923 and saw 60,000 new apartments constructed in the first year of its existence, built by the government and financed by taxes on the rich. But these weren't the kinds of apartments you might picture when you think of public housing in the United States. Drab high-rises plagued by chronic neglect and underinvestment. Residents could enjoy leafy courtyards, wide-open spaces, and plenty of natural light. They had shared laundries, state-of-the-art kitchens, food co-ops, bathhouses, pharmacies, lecture halls, schools, and swimming pools. These apartments were designed to be both beautiful to look at and beautiful to live in, fostering a sense of shared community among the people who lived there. And the best part was that because the city didn't have to worry about making a profit, just about paying off their maintenance costs, these homes were both much nicer and much cheaper than what workers had previously known. In 1926, the average rent in Viennese social housing was about just 4% of a monthly wage. The first 15 years after Austrian independence saw its capital transform from a symbol of urban blight into a beacon of socialist governance. It became known as Red Vienna, after the official color of the socialists who had pioneered these changes. And even though Red Vienna fell in 1934 when the country was seized by fascists, who did what they could to roll back social housing, that commitment to good, cheap housing remained after the Second World War. Today, an astonishing 62% of all city residents live in social housing, with the average monthly rent falling somewhere between $400 and $600 a month, with subsidies for lower-income tenants. That is a fraction of what people in America pay. Unlike in the United States, where public housing is treated as a worst-case way to house the very poor, Vienna's social housing residents are extremely diverse. Everyone except the top 50.
Damn, that's very interesting, because the people there that have regular jobs or do anything, pretty much any job, you still like you can afford that, and then you have money left over to save or to do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I feel stupid to be living in 2023 still talking about or still like stressing about housing, like comfortable, safe housing. Like, you know, like they've painted an illusion that you're entitled if you think that you deserve to have a roof over your head. Like that you don't just get a roof over your head. You have to literally be exploited.
Yeah. I mean,
to have a roommate.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. And the worst thing, and I don't know about other countries, but they make it almost like impossible to like escape the structure here, I guess. Like if we go to another country, you try to move to another country, like you still are somewhat tied here unless you give up your passport.
Because you have to pay taxes.
Yeah, like you can't just like say fuck this, I'm leaving. Like
you'd have to really give up your citizenship.
Yeah, you have to find like some type of loophole.
Yeah. Come back every 3 months.
Yeah, America it just feels like a business overall.
I mean, it is.
Everything's money over basic.
Wherever you guys are from too, let us know, like, because I'm sure not everywhere in Europe is this easy or good with public housing. So I just want to know, like, wherever you guys are from, leave in the comments, like, your experience with it. Like, is it good over there? Is it bad? The only thing I will say here, for people to get into affordable housing like this, it's like a lottery. Like, it's super, super hard for people to get into it.
Yeah. It definitely is. And then you feel like you almost feel like you would be undeserving. Like I feel like I would be undeserving if I was able to live in a luxury place but not paying fucking $5,000 a month. Yeah. Like I'd be like, wow, this could have gone to like a mom with 3 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think those are the type of people that they're choosing.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Could be wrong.
It is like a lottery though. They kind of do it like a lottery, I think.
But who's to say that it was fair? Like who's to say, you know, that they aren't like vetting the people that they're choosing and stuff?
They probably are. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It's so stupid. Like we really here believe this like facade that like you don't deserve things unless you like pretty much like sell your time and soul pretty much. And
a lot of the things that we feel like we don't deserve are literally like basic
ass fucking things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like food, like fucking food.
Healthcare and housing.
Housing, education.
Yeah.
Like that. There's no excuse for 100,000 students in New York to be homeless. I honestly feel like being a student, period, I feel like you should be able to have free housing while you're in school. If you obtain a certain GPA, you should be able to.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Live on campus.
Free.
It should just be included in the tens of thousands of dollars you're paying in tuition. You shouldn't have to pay a side. Okay,
it's hard because then if there's kids that don't have parents that can pay for housing and stuff while they're in college, so then they have to work a job and go to school, and they have like this extra stress.
Or they go into even more debt.
Yeah,
which is
exactly, because some schools will have loans for housing.
And if you look the housing that some of these schools have, it's embarrassing.
You're like living with like 4 other people in a room, in one room.
My brother, I think, was how much was he paying? Like $1,500
for the first one, right? Yeah.
To literally live with 2 other guys.
Yeah,
and I'm not joking. His dorm was smaller than our living room.
And on bunk beds.
Yeah. I'm like, you're paying $1,500 to sit on a fucking bunk bed. You can't even stand. There's nowhere to stand.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is.
But I don't know what's everybody's experience in college.
Let us know in the comments.
I didn't have student housing.
Extremely diverse. Everyone except the top fifth of the population is eligible to live in social housing. This means there's broad appeal across many segments of society.
They're so beautiful.
Which creates the foundation for its political popularity. That is how the majority of people in Vienna enjoy something that's considered almost utopian here in New York. Affordable housing that isn't just cheap, but desirable. Housing that isn't just four walls and a roof, but a real home with a sense of stability, safety, and community built in. Now, of course, this is only one example of an alternative framework for housing. And Vienna has not fully removed housing from the domain of the market. Residents still pay part of their earnings in rent to cover operational costs, and a sizable chunk of the population lives in private housing. But it's an actually existing alternative that shows us what a step toward a better world could look like. If we want to end the housing crisis, the solution has to be moving toward the full decommodification of housing.
Which will not happen.
In other words, moving away from the status quo, in which most people access housing by purchasing it on the market, and toward a future where we guarantee high-quality housing to all as a human right. So how can we do it? We can start by making sure people who access housing on the private market have ironclad protections against abuse and exploitation. But to go further, toward the Vienna model, we'll have to go beyond the market. We can establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the private market and convert it to community ownership. We can give tenants a right of first refusal to buy out their landlords when buildings go up for sale. And we can fully commit to a new era of social housing, ending subsidies for luxury housing development and using our wealth to build beautiful, high-quality social housing projects that offer good homes and strong communities to everyone. We won't decommodify housing overnight, but we know what we have to do, and we have history to guide us. And we know how we'll get there, through a movement of the multiracial working class organizing for the better world we know is possible. And we've already begun. I'm Zohran Mamdani, Assemblyman for New York's 36th Assembly District in Astoria, Queens, for the Gravel Institute.
I don't know. I have a hot take about this. I truly feel like we could do it if we wanted to. And there's like...
100%.
And I just don't like that it's always put on the people to have to figure it out. Let's find a way to do it. Let's work together. It's like... What the fuck are we... why do we think this way? We need to stop thinking that, like, it's on us to figure it out when it's just not. Like, the government could fucking do it. Sorry, excuse my language. But, like, they don't do it because they don't want to.
Because it's in a lot of their best interest to a lot of them invest in probably
of course
property. You know what I mean? So
property is a huge business here. And, yeah, it's just...
It's wild. It is cool to see in Vienna how they have 60% of it being public housing. It's interesting. I need to look more into that model. But you guys drop in the comments below like how your country kind of does systems like this, and let us know like the pros and cons that they do, because I want to know how it is through different countries too.
I mean, I feel like we've watched a few videos on different places in Europe at least. I don't know. These type of videos, as much as I love learning things, they stress me out more because it just reaffirms that
how shitty it is.
We don't have to live this way. It's stupid, and it really upsets me to see that we live in a first world fucking country and that they can't prioritize. They don't have their priorities together. Yeah. Yep. And it's not because they lack awareness. Like, they genuinely do not care. They benefit off people being poor. So at what point are we going to be like, no, like, if we just keep our voices loud enough and we vote the right people in, and, you know, we need to educate. It's like, no. The people suffering are they're well aware of why they're suffering. Yeah. And it's really upsetting.
It is.
You know?
It's also difficult, too, because even when voting and stuff, like, I think in one of the states here, when they were voting on the abortion ban, people in, I forget where, it was somewhere, like, where they're very religious and stuff, but...
The South.
Like, somewhere in Middle America or something, but they voted against, or sorry, they voted pro-abortions to be able to have them, and then the people in charge were like, yeah, we still don't want it. So then
like
they
the
still banned it.
the majority of the fucking citizens living there
Voted on something, but they
but
still
it's like
overturned
but they're like
it.
oh well, like
Yeah.
we don't care.
So it's like at that one point,
Like,
does the voting actually matter?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's this no, I've never even heard of this representative, some dude in the South, of course. I saw like last week, like saying that he wanted to not just like ban abortion, but he wanted to ban any form of contraceptive, birth control, like everything.
I think I saw that. Yeah,
fuck?
it was like in Florida or Texas or something. I can't remember.
I don't think it was Texas. But I was like, I don't get it. I don't like, get your priorities together, my guy. Figure out how to house people before you try to tell them what to do with their bodies.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, sorry. I get like really irritated with some of
I mean, this is
the stuff we hear.
it's an irritating topic for sure.
It's irritating because I used to buy the whole like only you have the power, you guys have this power. It's like, no, we really don't. You just have to have a little more humanity. And you know, I don't know if any parts of the world have seen what happened in Maui like a month or so ago with the fire that was there that like burnt a whole fucking village down and then some. And then like it's not even funny, but like Oprah and The Rock made this video that was so tone deaf. This happened a couple weeks ago. Pretty much like asking the general public
to donate
on their behalf. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, they were trying to ask us to donate, and then they will do the the honorable thing and make sure that this money goes into the pockets of Maui residents. And it's like, what do you like?
Their network.
How
together,
rich are you?
Yeah, their network
you
together.
You can buy
like
another Maui in-house.
Like $1 billion.
You're insane. Yeah. She's a billionaire. Her herself. I don't know The Rock. Isn't The Rock like the highest paid actor like ever?
So, yeah.
Like, look in the mirror, my guy.
Also,
okay?
Biden sent like $700 to each resident.
That pissed me the fuck off.
And like,
no. Each household.
Oh, got it.
Got $700, as if their house isn't gone. This stuff just infuriates me here.
Yeah.
Because anyway.
But
I don't know if any other parts of the world got.
Oh, like saw that as much.
Yeah, because I know it's
we didn't
hit or
even
miss.
see it that much too. Like it wasn't getting as much exposure as I thought it would.
It did after it was like 4 days in. Then I started hearing about it more. But initially, there's a lot of conspiracies about what the intentions behind that. I can get into that. But anyway, long story short, rich people should not be telling poor people what to do with their money. That's just like really weird. Like Black Mirror.
All right. If you guys enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe. And don't forget to jump over to the blog channel. Subscribe.